as far as some information that you've received, when would you say the RAAF base first found out that that PFAS was a contaminant that was dangerous? When would you say that they found out?
We have documentation with the lawyers now that back in 1987 the Defence Force was warned to treat it very carefully and not to let it release into the environment.
1987.
That's correct.
So that's what, 33 years ago now.
Now you see how far away we are here. I mean, probably you could take your camera up there later and show
Oh,
viewers.
I'll edit it in, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the base isn't that far away.
No.
And the elderly ladies and gentlemen on this street remember foam, Chris, from the base blowing over this paddock, because back 30 years ago none of these trees were there, you see.
Yeah.
So I used to blow over the creek and blow in the foam into their backyard. You know, so, and they knew not to release into the environment, but it's blowing kilometres
They'd
away.
been warned at that stage and still did nothing to contain it all that time ago.
Well, our governments think that, you know, if you're going to build a base or something like that that could use contaminants, they choose to build this sort of infrastructure on a creek bed, thinking that it's just going to wash out and wash to sea and the environment will fix it. Well, this chemical is a bioaccumulative chemical. It'll stay in the ground for a half-life of 500 years. It'll stay in animals, crustaceans, for their up to their lifetime. In humans, up to 30 years.
Okay, and so being that we are on what's known as farming land, are you aware of anything, be it produce, cattle, fruit, vegetables, that may be going to market that's in a contaminated zone?
Yeah, well, you're looking out, your viewers can't see it now, but we're looking out to the paddock adjacent to the RAAF base there, and there's all those cattle are going to market, and all Defence can say to me, Chris, is those cattle are domestic and they don't go to market. And I've got the footage of the trucks going to market. I've spoken to the farmers, I know the truth of the matter. The GHD reports, there's holes all the way through them, and I've advised them of that and brought it to their attention enough for them to say, okay, well, let's get rid of GHD and bring someone else in now. Back in the day when Defence started getting the tenders in for these investigations, the different companies were told in a group meeting, don't worry, don't stress out, there's plenty of money to go around and everyone's going to get a chance at it.
And so this is the thing too, from what I can gather, our government has been paying out large sums of money for contracts for people to do what's called remediation of this area, and basically what's happening is they take out the dead trees, put new trees in, and that's about where it stops.
Correct. Yeah, so there's certain members of our community that are have certain, for legal reasons, we'll keep that under wraps for now, organisations that they build this organisation and they state that they're going to remediate an area and they're working for the environment and this and that, and they get members and they build a lobbying group. They get gifted land from Defence and they fence it off and they get grants, you know, so it's a profitable exercise, Chris. Because, getting a grant, you're going to have admin costs and the like, so everyone makes money, so they use a contaminated site or a contaminated area to pull funds, from council, federal and state, to remediate, which is not going to remediate land, but obviously line their own pockets.
Remediating land, you know, obviously isn't going to do anything when it's in the underground water. Even if they were to, you know, go to the extent of, say, Fukushima, where they bag up 30 million one-ton bags of dirt and store it, the water still being in the underground water means that it's still constantly leaching up into the land. It's still being watered through bore systems, being brought back up and put back into the land. So I can't see a way in which they could remediate this to the stage where this land could be declared contaminant free and safe for people to live and drink the water. I can't see how it's possible.
But we Nicole, my wife and I, are to the understanding that humans should not be living in a contaminated site. Now, Defence have stated the Kitemonger Brook, which runs across the, there's a new land development happening here in Bullsbrook, and they're actually, it's a shame, they're saying on the advertisements, you know, buy in Bullsbrook and your kids can play in the brook, the Kitemonger Brook. Well, Chris, the Kitemonger Brook, with the documentation up there, I can prove to you is contaminated. The crustaceans and the fish are contaminated. Defence state to me that they're not aware of anyone consuming the fish or the crustaceans, so that's okay. Now, the Kitemonger Brook is a...
Sorry, could I butt in there? Do they have any signs along there saying, do not consume this?
No, not at all.
So they don't even have a sign up saying, don't fish this area,
no.
Possible contamination, nothing at all?
No.
And being that it's very close to the base and their local area, then you would have to say that they would know people are fishing that waterway.
Yeah, well, in my business, I've got a sign writing machine, and I do a little bit of sign writing, and I started making signs up and putting around the area because I find it hard to sleep at night thinking that people are going there. You know, Vic next door, he used to go and get the would you call them, yabbies?
Yeah.
The yabbies up there. And as a kid, we used to go up there and, you know, throw a bit of meat in and pull it out slowly, and you'd get these yabbies and bring them home, and Dad would put them in some boiling water and we used to eat them, you know. So Defence, everything that Defence comes at in these reports in GHD, it's wrong, it's all wrong, you know. And then...
So just backtracking, what happened to the signs that you did start printing and putting up to warn people?
Well, they started mysteriously disappearing, and then footage was leaked to me. I haven't shown you that yet. I'll show you later on. That Defence were taking them down. So Defence security were coming around the town and taking everything down. And I didn't put anything on these signs stating that Defence have contaminated the area or anything like that. I was just warning people of the situation at hand. So the signs never said Defence have done anything. I mean, You see on my front fence out there, we've had those signs around Bullsbrook too, warning people, because back in the day we sort of had to get the word out, and we didn't know how. You know, I'd never been on Facebook or social media or anything like that before. I chose to stay away from that, and that's why I was here. I wanted to raise the kids in a nice farm environment, and stay away from that sort of thing. Go into the city and work, and come home and teach my kids how to dig holes and plant fruit trees.
Yeah.
And my wife and I had to learn social media. We had to learn Facebook, YouTube, how to make our own videos, and you can see what we're doing. It's been a long battle, and something that we didn't choose, but we've been thrown into, and don't know when this is going to end.
Non-stop, constant, ongoing. The amount of time that this must consume for you between working full-time and dealing with this, I imagine you don't get much family holidays or time off.
No, we haven't. Our day consists of emotional. I'll get up at 5 a.m. and Nicole will wake up, and I'll be asking her what's going on Facebook, what's happening, let's have a look. And then I'll start firing off, we've got to do this today, we've got to do that today, I want to write to that senator, I want to write to this one. So we've got to start getting this organised, and then I'll get ready for work, and then we'll have a coffee, and then we're still discussing PFAS or the community, or how we're going to strengthen this community, because 4 years of battling these bastards, Defence, You know, the community didn't believe me in the beginning. Now they're starting to come on board. It's been a full battle, right? So I had the community battling me. There was members supporting us, but the majority were battling me, and I had defence battling me. Then the local member, Christian Porter, started battling me. The Residents and Ratepayers group battling me. They were making up lies, calling down police on me. Now, they acted appropriately, and we sorted it all out. It was all lies. I can tell you a little bit about that if you want. But what happens when you start standing up as a nobody? People put you down, Chris. Because you come out of nowhere, and you come out. You know, I came out with all guns blazing. Because it was a problem. And again, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know whether I approached it gently or fast or slowly. I mean, I just said, well, let's just go for it. Yeah. My day consists of going to work, and then I'm on the phone to Nicole, so in between jobs, and even sometimes my clients go, you know, you're on your phone a lot, but I'm on Facebook, this and that. I'm getting calls from the community, you know, tinting someone's car, and then I'm getting someone ringing me in tears, mate, you know, saying, Colin, you know, my husband's threatening to leave me. I had a punch up with my neighbour. You know, the kids are upset. Or, you know, not only have we had to educate the community that this is bad and that our own government is knowingly poisoning us, right?
Which is a hard one for people to get their head around. Most people are programmed by the TV to the belief of we live in a great country, everything's fine, everyone's treated well, when in actual fact anyone who's had any sort of dealings with the government, be it PFAS or anything else, any sort of grievance at all, you realise that it just falls on deaf ears. There is no actual care or concern or empathy at all from our government.
You know, it's interesting, Chris, you know, if I'd probably met you 5 years ago, I probably maybe wouldn't have got along so well, because
you hadn't experienced it firsthand.
Well, you can see around this room that I'm very military orientated. There's a lot of photos and stuff out here. As I said, my family were military, and I respected our government. I've travelled the world. I've seen how hard it is out there for citizens of other countries to move forward. And you know, when I came back, I launched my own business and from nothing, and took nothing from the government, but I paid a lot of tax. And you know, I always thought that we're safe here. One, because we're living right next to the defence base. Two, I'm paying all my taxes, and if there's ever an issue, then I've got a government that will help me. Yeah. And Chris, I want to tell you something, mate. There's many times I've gone outside and I've taken my flags down. And, you know, one day I took the WA flag down, and Mark McGowan just continued to say, you know, we're only filing your concerns, speak to Christian Porter, our member for Pierce, as our federal member. And so I take the WA flag down, being upset with Mark, you know, and then I take the federal flag down, and then I take both, and then I put them back up the next day, thinking, you know, and this is playing on my mental health, because I'm
having a psychological effect.
Yeah, because I'm going, well, I want help, and no one's listening. I pay my taxes. I've taken no money from the government. I've never asked for help, and there's been times in my life, and I'm sure everyone's life that's listening to this, that you've been on the bones of your ass, and I've managed to somehow get out of it. So I can honestly say that I haven't been able to, I haven't taken anything from them, and then when I want something for my children and for my well-being, and it's written on the wall that we've got a very serious problem here. There's nothing. There's no help, mate. And I tell you what, one day you feel down and out, and the next day you want to drive your car through that front gate.
You're angry.
Base, mate, and run through every single wing of every plane on that whole base. Yeah. Men and women in this town are getting real angry.
Yeah, and rightfully so, I say, rightfully so.